Hello everyone, this is Angela Robinson. I am here shooting this video for my game engine programming class at UAT, University of Advancing Technology in Phoenix. This is our first milestone project where we were to learn about RootMotion with animation. So this is what I'm going to show you here. I've made a very basic, just testing scene. You'll see here over on the left, the right is the game window, which looks like it's just really close on a spotlight. But if you'll see here, I will play this, and it actually goes to my character. You can see as I move my mouse, it turns. I've got a strafing, walking backwards, walking forwards, and I've also got running too. So, and just something, as you can see, I can't get through any of those if I bump into them. I've got some spheres up here that if I do bump into them, I can move them around. So the mechanic of the RootMotion along with the object looking at the mouse is a little different for me, so it looks a little awkward when I'm moving around here. But that at least shows you a little bit of what I've done. As far as this, I did make an executable as well, which is on my Git repository. And let me show you my a little bit better view here. Okay, actually, let me show you the animation. So we learned about the animations, making a blend tree, and I downloaded all of my animations from Mixamo, and downloaded the avatar as well, which on Mixamo is called Eve, if anybody is curious about that. And okay, so and this is Eve here. So so looking at this a little bit better, as you can see, I've got the idle, walking, running, strafing, walking and running, walking backwards and running backwards on here that I did with the blend tree. And I was lucky that I didn't have to do that many adjustments. Most of it was on the walking and running here in the animations, but seemed pretty good for that. Let's take a look at the code here. So I have 4 controllers here, or 4 scripts here. So the first one is the player, where you've got the animation on it, and pretty basic. I'm getting the animation and the transformation. I left the animator public for on the inspector, but I also did the backup if they didn't put it in, set it in the inspector. I look for it first on the object that the actual script is on, and if not there, then it's possible that it's going to be on the parent, which actually is how I did set my player up. I have my player script here on the actual Eve model here, but I have the animator on the parent, along with the collider and then the controller. So the controller, let's go back to this. And so the player, that's just starting it up, and then basic movements of moving the player on the axis, the vertical and horizontal axis, the turning the players, basically having it look at the that's what I use with the mouse direction. And then the jumping, I've got an if statement on whether or not I'm moving or not, on if I do a jump standing in place or a jump while running. The jump while running actually moves the character a little bit forward. Jumping in place just moves it up and down. So then that works with the player controller here. So I've got the reference to the player script and two floats, walk speed and run speed. I've got defaults here set if they're not set in the inspector. Even though I have the default here of 4 for walking speed, I believe I have it in the inspector set as 2, because I found that that was a little bit, more noticeable than the 4 versus the 8. So, and then I have the movement here, which we get the actual input for the horizontal and vertical, and clamp it between the 0 and 1, so it doesn't go more than 1 unit, and then using the inverse from direction. And then I've got a bool parameter in my animator that is moving, which is what I check against for the jump. So here I'm actually putting it true if we get any movement from the horizontal axis input keys. And then here is setting my my run speed, my actual run speed. So if I've got the shift, left shift is usually used with the WASD, the right shift is usually used with the arrow keys. So depending on which one you can use either shift. And if you have the shift down, you can run. If not, it just walks, does the slower. And then jumping, if I hit the space key. The find mouse location is the character looking and turning at the mouse. So, as my notes here says, I'm creating an invisible plane at the point of where my mouse is, and then sending a ray to hit that plane, and then having my player turn to that position. So the follow player is I used both on the camera, and I also added a spotlight, just kind of directly above the character, will follow the character. As you saw earlier, before I actually hit play, it looked like there was no character there, but there was a spotlight there. That's where the spotlight object is. But once I hit play, it automatically finds the player and just follows it. And the camera, I have it just slightly back behind the player, up and up top, kind of a 3/4 rather than a true top down is what I'm doing. So, and if you can see here on the main camera, I've got the offset is at 000 here, because if I have it, don't know exactly where I want it, or I have the camera angle like I like it, so I chose, if I just kept it at 000 for the offset, that the offset would be the starting position of the object that you put this to. But if you look at the spotlight, I actually let's see, I have it also at 000, but I could also put it at just the Y at 5 here as well, and it'll still do the same thing because I have it just straight above the character. So that is the following the character. My fourth one, I added a UI. So if you noticed when I played this, there was a little instruction here of press escape to close the game, and it brings up a pop-up window. It looks a little bit better in an actual, standalone or something, whenever in my executable. But so that I may have to play around with a little bit. But it's just a panel that says, do you want to exit game, yes or no? If you hit no, it'll take away that panel. If you hit yes, it won't do it in editor, but on the actual build, it will exit the program. So that's my extra feature there. Pretty easy on the mechanics of it, because C# has the nifty little application.quit, and then I just check to see if the escape key is pushed, and then I start off with this panel that that panel is with it disabled here. So this is how it would look. So that's my extra feature there. Let me show you that actually working. So here's the build. Uh-oh. Well, I'm going to have to rebuild that and send it off, but I promise you it does work. I do apologize for that. Robinson again with the game programming, game engine programming for UAT. I just wanted to show you guys I did get the build working, so I had to rebuild it. I was missing one of these folders for some reason, so it is running here, and so as you can see, it's got the same kind of stuff here. Am I jumping? But if I hit the escape and hit no, it goes away. Hit the escape again and I hit yes, it'll actually close the program. So that actually only works in the build, as I said before, not in the inspector or the editor. So that's the only way to test that, which is one of the main reasons why I did make the build. But wanted to show you guys that, and I look forward to hearing your responses.